for speaking to us. Good morning once again.
Good morning.
Okay, so finally, GIL, NAFTi, and GIJ have been merged into one public university, and a lot of conversations have been started around what it means for students, what it means for the respective university campus. But before we delve into that, I'd like to congratulate you on the creation of the logo for your universities. So let's start off from that point. How did you feel when your logo was chosen for the three universities?
All right, so I'll say for me it was a history-making moment. I had received an official letter from the University Governing Council, the interim council, even before the event day, and so I knew my logo was the one that was chosen, and of course that was appropriate because then towards the preparations for the event, the logo ought to be used. So the excitement on the D-Day was not too much because it wasn't too much of a surprise. But of course, I am happy that throughout the history of the University of Media Arts and Communication, my name has been etched. It is going to be on the logo forever, and that's a big joy. So I'm very passionate about the Ghana Institute of Journalism because I'm an old student there. And I've been very passionate about anything that advances the cause of GIJ. So yeah, that is what drove me, and I was very happy.
Okay. Looking at the responses you received after the logo was outdoor, do you feel fulfilled?
Yeah, of course. I think that the creativity had come to play in designing the logo, the ideas that went into it, the sort of back and forth, that you understand if you are designing something, because I actually had 3 different entries, and the sort of back and forth that went on before finally that was selected. I felt very much fulfilled having gone through the troubles of designing a concept and all of that, and coming out with a final outcome. I felt very much fulfilled.
Okay, so to a lay person, to someone who does not really understand the inner workings of the administration of universities and all that, what does merging GI or NAFTi and GIJ mean?
Right. So before the merger, I want to put on record that before the merger, out of the 3 institutions that have been merged, GIJ had already been a university, a fully fledged university. Since 2009, GIJ had received a presidential charter to become a fully fledged university that awards its own degrees, diplomas, and certificates. Before then, GIJ used to receive their degrees from the University of Ghana, which was their mentoring university. But along the line, some stakeholders, including government, felt that they could bring together these 3 institutions, GIL, NAFTi, and GIJ, because we are all public institutions and we seem to be offering or playing within a very similar arena. And I'm talking about the creative arts. So you're talking about communication, journalism, public relations. You're talking about film and film production. You're also talking about language. And you look at these 3 specialized areas and you notice that they are all playing within the same creative industry. And so government thought that they need to merge these 3 institutions to cause a certain synergy in the things we do. So instead of allowing them to stand on their own and do their own things in their different corners, why not synergize them? So the University of Media Arts and Communication was actually born out of this idea to say that instead of competing and doing the same things or similar things in your individual capacities, why not come together and offer this as a whole institution? So the that is what UniMaC is. It is actually that merger that has brought together these three institutions with a intention of synergizing their offerings. I think that's basically what it is.
Okay, so what are the ramifications for students who are now going to be part of UniMaC regards to, because there are questions that have started popping up in regards to the courses. So if I attend GIJ, it doesn't mean I'm going to study a bit of the courses from GIL, a bit from NAFTi. What is going to happen in regards to that?
Okay, so we have explained time and again that universities don't just get up and throw students around and say, go and take this course here and go and take that course there. Courses that go into programs are actually carefully thought through. They are very strategic. So, for example, if I develop a program, the question is, at the end of the day, what are the courses or the competencies the students need or the graduate need to function in that particular capacity? So that particular decision of the capacities or the competencies the students need is what makes you or compels you or influences you to develop a program and put courses in the program. Now, as it pertains in other universities, if the program demands that there is a course that falls within Department A, and there's another course on the program that falls within Department B, then as a student, you'll be made to take the course that's in Department A in Department A and take the one that's in Department B in Department B. So in the future, for example, if a new program is developed and in the wisdom of the framers and developers of that particular program, they think that a student who is studying, say, broadcast journalism needs some form of film training. And so they've developed a course in film production on that particular program. What it means then is that if a student is taking a course on the program, say broadcast journalism or broadcast news writing, which would be done in the broadcasting department, but there's another course on the program which is film production, which will be done at the film department of NAFTi, then it means that as a student, you can take the broadcast news writing in the broadcast department and the film production in the film department. And it happens all over the universities across the world. So we have not gotten there yet. We have not developed any program that has these components yet. What we are still running are the existing programs we all know about. And those programs are well defined and well domiciled in their individual departments. And so if you're a student who is signed on to those programs, you will continue to do what it is you do. So GIJ, GIL, NAFTi would continue to run the programs they run until the university finds a program that is that has courses that cut across all of these departments. You still will be where you are. So I don't think that students should be scared or there should be any need for uncertainty at all. Whatever you have signed on to is what you will do until you are done with the program. So there is no question about that at all.
Okay. Now, another issue that has come up is student representation. People want clarity with regards to what is going to mean. Does it mean GIJ would have own SRC president? Because I'm hearing on a certain committee there is a representative from the student body. So what goes in choosing that person and what will it mean for the respective campuses? Are they all going to have individual student leaders or would have a singular leader that represents all the three universities?
Okay, so let me take the University of Ghana, for example. If you go to the University of Ghana, they have schools and institutes and colleges within the University of Ghana. There is the Institute of African Studies, for example. There is the School of Business in the University of Ghana, for example. There are a lot of schools. There's the law school in the University of Ghana. So there are multiple schools, institutes, colleges that have come together to form the University of Ghana. But no one says that because there are individual schools, individual departments, individual faculties, or individual institutes, or individual colleges, they should all have various SRC presidents. It doesn't happen like that. So what we are going to do is, going forward, there will be only one SRC. There can only be one SRC president. There can only be one GRASAC president. Now, if that happens, how do you make sure that there is enough representation even with the SRCs? So traditionally in GIJ, if you are a hall president, you would be an automatic member of the SRC's parliament, what we call the General Assembly. If you are a class rep or a course rep, you'll be a member of the General Assembly. So the same thing will happen. They can have, say, the Public Relations Students Association's president. They can have hall presidents. They can have all of these people who can come together to form the parliament of the SRC of UniMaC. But there can only be one student representative leadership. Now, in the University of Ghana and all other traditional universities, if you are the president and you are going to contest, you are an aspiring president, SRC president, and you are going to contest, you will run around from one school and one college and one department to the other. It is going to be the same thing in UniMaC. There will be no difference. If you want to become an SRC president in UniMaC, you need to talk to all of the constituent institutions to vote for you. You need to campaign across them. And that is what happens. So there can only be one leader. Now, because for now, all the three institutions still have their SRC presidents, you're asking about who will be representing on the interim council. The interim council has taken a decision, and it will be one of the SRC presidents of the three institutions, also depending on the number of people who are represented on the interim council. So, for example, if you have a lot of, because we, GIJ, for example, we are the only institute in the entire merger who were the university. So we are the only ones who have a UTAG, a local UTAG chapter. So we have the UTAG president. So you are going to have the UTAG president be on the university governing council. So in the interim council's own wisdom, they will find out who should be a representative of the students on the council. But that is just an interim measure, so that if the merger is in phases, it's in folds, the institutes have been merged. There are a lot of things to merge. There are a lot of things we are going to work on in the coming days, weeks, and months and years before the entire synergy takes place. So when the final synergy at the student front takes place, whoever becomes the eventual...
Excuse me, please, your line is a bit unstable.
Okay, so what did you hear me? Where did you hear up to? Hello, can you hear me? Is it better? Hello, is it better? Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Majority of your last submission was a bit shaky. We couldn't get to you.
Okay. So, as I was saying, so should I go over?
So I think you got to the part where you're talking about... No, you got to the part where you're talking about representation on the committee. I think that's where you got to.
On the council. Okay, I think it is your network that's not good. The signal here tells me your network is not too good. The Annabelle's iPhone, the network is not...
That's a bit surprising because we are using the company's Wi-Fi. So
I'm on a very, very super fast Wi-Fi as well. Anyway, so can I go on?
Yeah, you can go on.
Right. So, as I was explaining, the University Governing Council, in its own wisdom, will then decide in the interim which of the SRC presidents should be on the council. That's, like I said, that's just an interim measure. Because when the entire measure, which is still happening, which is still, the measure is not an event, it's a process, it's a procedure. So when the entire measure is finally
I'm coming to this one who is there.
When the entire measure is finally realized, then the SRC president, who becomes the eventual winner of the elections in the entire UniMaC, which includes all the constituent institutions, then that person becomes a representative on the University Governing Council.
Okay, splendid, splendid. So, your last words to anybody who wants to attend UniMaC, what benefits await them?
Well, so I think that hitherto we have been playing just with our individual strengths as institutions. Now we have been merged. What it means then is that the force is stronger. We are relying on each other's resources. You know, like the Act proposes, every resource of all the institutions, including the human resources, financial resources, and all, in the coming into force of the Act, all of these resources have become the resource of UniMaC. So it tells you that UniMaC is now a stronger force. We have had a difficulty with GIJ. The difficulty is that even though it was a university on its own, because it doesn't carry the name university, usually you need to explain to people that it is a university when you mention the name. But now that problem is off. Now the name is changed. And I think that there's a lot to take advantage of in this whole measure. So I want to encourage students, I want to encourage alumni, I want to encourage all stakeholders to make all the efforts there are to help realize the full potential of this particular measure, and also ask students and potential students or prospective students to tell them that this is the best place to train if you want to go into the creative arts, the creative communication, public relations, marketing, advertising, film production, languages, broadcasting, journalism. This is where to go to. I mean, I've always said that I don't see myself training in journalism or communication in any other institution other than GIJ. And now that there are two other equally very good institutions coming together, I think that prospective students should take advantage of that. So those would be my last words.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. Before you go, so what has it now? Has it officially been launched, or there will be another ceremony to launch UniMaC?
UniMaC is launched. As we speak today, officially, like I said, the merger is a process. There are other brand elements that are being developed. The website is under development. There are a lot of changes going to happen. Letterheads, for example, have been changed into UniMaC. We now receive letters and memos on the UniMaC letterhead. So yeah, it's taking off.
Okay. Thank you very much for speaking to us. We are deeply grateful.
Pleasure is mine.